we don't ever wish poor play from other people, but at the time it's like, wow, I'd really like them to miss a putt here. Just give myself a PGA Tour card.
Fore-play, presented by Barstool Sports. We are back. I'm outside right now and near a golf course. So I might, at times, Trent Daddy, I might soften my voice so as to not distract any crucial tee shots. I'm here in Pinehurst, North Carolina for a couple weeks. I know you guys were talking about it pre-show, but we got hurricanes. Shout out to the Mountain Strong shirts, everybody who bought something over the last week for Asheville and Western North Carolina. But I think we're going through a little bit of day after tomorrow type thing that people warned us about for decades, whether it's climate change or whatever, because I mean, I woke up and you're looking at this. I think is it Milton? Is it Hurricane-Milton? That's the new one. That's, I mean, category 5, picked up, I think 75 miles an hour of wind speed, like overnight, and you pull it up and everybody's freaking out about another hurricane.
Yeah. It's not good news for your boy. It's not good news for a lot of people. You know, I'm not going to throw a pity party for myself, but I just moved down to Florida. I'm not currently there. I'm in Chicago to film a video, but I did move down to Florida and I have been living there. And the first week that I'm going to be living there, Hurricane-Milton is going to slam into the state of Florida. Now I know that it's on the Gulf side and it's going to hit Tampa, and, you know, thoughts out to those people like that. I think it's growing in strength and it's going to hit them. And then it's going to keep going over the state of Florida over towards my neck of the woods, which is Oceanside and Jupiter. So yeah, again, this is not about me, but I am the one on this podcast, and I am currently a Florida resident. And my first week there, a big hurricane is going to hit. So I'm kind of with you. I don't track hurricane patterns really. I'm probably going to have to start with my relocation, but it does seem like there are more hurricanes happening right now than there usually are. Now, I do believe it is hurricane season, so it's not unprecedented, but I'm going to be bummed if my first year in Florida is just the year of the hurricane and every single week there's a new hurricane coming through. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. Fingers crossed for everybody on the Gulf side of Florida. And yeah, let's just get through these hurricanes and enjoy that beautiful weather that I've read so much about and why I moved down there.
Well, you are the one with the platform, Trent, so you can. Everyone listening doesn't really have a choice. If you're going to talk about hurricanes and how it's going to affect you, these people that are listening to the show are just simply going to have to listen to you talk about it. So I don't really understand hurricanes that much, and that you and I kind of came from Tornado Alley. So we've been through the, experiencing and understanding that tornadoes are the real threat. I don't know, like hurricanes, man, are tough. It feels like they can turn at any direction. It feels like they can kind of go, the Western North Carolina stuff from last week was significantly more inland than I was kind of expecting. And then now you're watching this next one come, like you're saying, it's going to slam into the Gulf side of Florida. It is hurricane season. I think there's even some people in the internet world that I've noticed have been blaming the hurricanes on a certain political party that they don't like to be affiliated with. So people are trying to come up with any understanding for the hurricanes right now. But I'm with you. Fingers crossed, everybody. Incredibly, incredibly scary stuff. Some of the footage from last week, and I imagine that's going to come across our desks over the next couple of days, is just shocking stuff.
Well, the scary thing is when these storms, whether it be hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, hit areas that it normally doesn't, so that people in those areas aren't prepared for them. Now, I feel like that was part of it, potentially with the Asheville thing. I don't know enough about it to speak on it really, but like when you're not expecting a hurricane to hit, you don't have protocols in place, or the area isn't prepared for that. Like when it snows in Texas or it snows in Atlanta, they shut down the whole city because they're like, we're not used to having these things, so we don't know what to do. I think that's where it gets dangerous. Where we are from, there are a lot of tornadoes, so there's basements. When the tornado sirens go off, you go into the basement. There's these things in place that, you live in a certain area where these things could potentially happen. I think it gets scary when the storms start hitting areas that aren't prepared for them and don't expect them to happen, and that is when you get really catastrophic stuff. I'm an idiot. I'm a dumb person. This is a golf podcast, but that seems like the thing where it's really, really bad when these storms hit areas that historically have not had them.
Yep. And I think that's exactly what happened in Asheville. And I think that even couple of days before, it was sort of forecasted that it was going to kind of go in a different direction. And like you're saying, when you're not ready for it, it is just devastating. So prayers up for everybody that's been in kind of the path of these hurricanes. I never really been in a natural disaster before. You ever been in a natural disaster?
No, outside of just really, really bad storms, like even the derecho that hit my hometown of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I was living in New York City, and that devastated that area. But yeah, I've never really haven't been in a place where like, oh, a hurricane slammed into us or a tornado ripped through our town completely. I've just been through some really, really bad storms, but I don't know if you can technically is a natural disaster, but nothing really devastating like we're seeing right now with the hurricanes.
Hope everybody's safe, and it is very, very scary stuff. And Trent, you picked a great time to move to Florida and then get the hell out of there because you're getting hit by hurricanes. So this episode is presented by our great presenting sponsors and friends at Chevy. The Equinox EV helps you get the distance you're looking for with an available EPA estimated 319 miles of range on a full charge. Actual range may vary based on several factors. Biggest thing here, technology. We're talking the best in class 17.7 inch diagonal standard touchscreen display. The Equinox EV. Everybody's going to try this thing out, Trent.
The Equinox is an amazing machine, and it's just one of many amazing machines that Chevy rolls out. If you go on that website, Chevy.com, check them out. Again, the Equinox is a beautiful, beautiful. It's going to be the best vehicle you've ever owned. But if you keep scrolling, you keep looking, you're going to find as many good vehicles as you want on that website. You just got to pick one. The Equinox is a great choice. We love Chevy. They're on the cutting edge of all the technology with the EVs. Just can't say enough good things about Chevrolet.
Head over to Chevy.com/Equinox EV. You can check out product info, lease offers, and amazing deals. The Equinox EV accommodates with comfortable seating for up to 5 people. The 2025 Equinox EV LT, it's got a starting price of around $34,995. Your pricing may vary as dealers set the final price. But go on over to this link. Head over to Chevy.com/Equinox EV. Check out product info, Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. We got to talk about some golf because, like you said, this is a golf podcast. We're recording on Monday. Sunday was kind of the end of the korn-ferry-tour finals finishing. And I always enjoy on a good Sunday when you just start firing off tweets and whatnot about golf when it's basically not the U.S. Open or the Masters. People, as you know, Trent, when you fire off tweets about The Bachelor or anything that's not football when football's on, people really don't seem to enjoy that. They really don't seem to enjoy that you just somehow, it feels like in their mind, stole their entire timeline to talk about something golf related. But Sunday, korn-ferry-tour championship, our boy Alistair, who really wasn't on a lot of the radar. I mean, going in, I kind of talked to him a little bit, but there's a lot of math involved with what he needed. It kind of felt like he pretty much needed to just win outright to get in. And then as things started shaking down, it was like certain players are not going to finish inside whatever top 10 or 20 this week. That then all of a sudden opened up Alistair to have a little bit more of a chance. So he needed to finish what ended up being like a 2-way tie for second or better as everything was moving kind of down the stretch of the whole thing. And then all of a sudden it was just like, bang, he posted that. I think 4 under is what it was. He's in the clubhouse at 8 under. And you're starting to see these leaders. People are playing for their careers, for their livelihood. They've spent their whole life trying to get to this point. We got golfers on the tee, so I'm trying to be a little bit quiet right now. But they spent their whole life trying to get to this point. You could see Scotty Scheffler. I've talked about it before, but Scotty Scheffler has talked about that before, that the most pressure he's ever felt was the last couple holes, trying to get his PGA Tour, korn-ferry-tour, trying to go through Q school, the whole thing. So here these guys are out here. They're playing for their livelihood. And you could see people are crumbling, hitting bad shots. You feel bad for them. And then it all came down to just 2 putts as everybody's trying to figure it out, like a 12-footer and an 8-footer. And it's like, if one of those just misses, it dramatically changes Alistair's life and career, like forever. This is the dream. This is what he's been trying to get to for his entire life. And then they just both went in, and it's a very weird spot where you're like rooting for people to miss. And we've talked about that on this show quite a bit. But in that instance, obviously it's hard not to. Again, these people are right here on the third tee, and they're out here playing Pinehurst number 2, so I don't want to mess their whole day up. But But man, that was like as devastating as it gets watching golf yesterday. Oh,
yeah. You mentioned how people get upset or, angry when you're tweeting about something that they're not specifically watching. I do think if there were, we've talked about this for years, especially since we got so involved with Alistair, where if there were a way to package and present the drama of what happened yesterday, the people who are angrily watching football and only want people to be watching football would be just as glued to this as they are football, because the dramatics are that high. It's devastating. And I was a little busy yesterday, so I wasn't able to follow it as closely as I wanted to, but I was looking at all the updates, and thankfully you were tweeting and people were tweeting. And I know Danny Rapp mentioned it a couple of times. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, and then to see it, go down the way that it did is devastating. Now, what's the silver lining? He's so close. He's a guy out there on the Korn-Ferry-Tour who even put himself in the position to potentially earn his card. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to hear if you're Alistair, because if one of those putts misses, you're in, and your whole life changes. And we're on this podcast hooting and hollering, and I know he's maybe going to join us later, and we're like popping champagne on this Zoom call, and it's so exciting. And to just miss it by the amount that he did is devastating. But I do think the silver lining is you're fucking close. And I'll probably say this to him when he comes on. Like, you can't get much closer than that. And you're out there wearing the Barstool Golf stuff, and it's so awesome. And he is helping, shed light on these stories, because then we come on this podcast, which has a pretty large following, and we talk about it, and people get more invested. And then next year, all right, now more people are watching, and who's on the cut line, and who's in and who's out. It sucks. And I know we were texting a little bit about it yesterday. It's just like, it couldn't be a more devastating end, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. I think it's just, of course, we wished it had gone the other way, but he's right there. That's kind of my whole synopsis of the whole thing.
yeah. I mean, he's had just an incredible year, right? And just for like confidence, we all know in the game of golf how much our games can fluctuate just purely based on confidence. And now him at his level, having that confidence to go out there in the PGA Tour, finish second in Myrtle Beach, and then go out and not even really feel like, probably for a lot of the year, that he had his best stuff, that he was playing his A game a couple weeks here and there, and still be that close to getting your PGA Tour card. He's got to take a ton of confidence out of that. He's got to take a lot of positives out of that. I will say, so Alistair's on his way here right now. So I was like, I was like, dude, if he gets his PGA Tour card and then he arrives here, we're going to hang for a few days. So I was like, this is going to be the craziest week of all time. This guy's like, I mean, if you're on the PGA Tour versus not the PGA Tour, he basically becomes like a rich, famous golfer, like instantly, if he's just on the PGA Tour. I mean, that's just, you're just on the PGA Tour. You've done the whole thing. You've made it to the NFL. It's like, it's just unimaginably cool. And then to have it ripped away that badly. And they were talking about how like a couple of the putts didn't even really matter for the player necessarily, because they weren't going to be. So you're just like, well, then what are we doing here? So it was that close. I could tell in my text to him too. Alistair's always so positive, and even he was like, that was devastating. And so he's like taking the positives and all that, but he just was like, man, that was devastating. Like, that really had to hurt.
Yeah, you get so close. And I can't wait to hear him talk about it, because I want him to walk us through all the emotions of it. And he is such a positive person but yeah, if something like that happens, you do kind of got to take a little bit of grain of salt. You just got to just be like, yeah, I don't want to feel this way again, is how I would look at it if I were him. I'm not a good golfer or even close to the PGA Tour, so I shouldn't really speak on it. But, again, he's so close. The way he just think, I don't want to feel that way again, the way I felt yesterday. Put it into some positive energy and, just get your tour card. He's going to get his tour card. I'm confident in that.
Just get your tour card, kid, just go out there and get that tour card. But yeah, he is going to join us. We're going to hear all from him about the whole thing, how the whole thing went down. And there are some great stories. I mean, even Alistair not getting it, devastating, all that. This Braden Thornberry guy, his little sheet here from playing professional golf for how long he's played it. He 8 of the 9 members of the 2017 U.S. Walker Cup team have all turned professional, gone on to earn their PGA Tour cards, except for him. Scotty Scheffler and Callum Morikawa each have multiple majors. Thornberry's been stuck in the minors. He was so far down, I guess it was last year, because he lost even like his korn-ferry-tour card. And then I was reading through like a couple of years ago, he was on the Challenge Tour. So it's like he just has had moments where it was like, you're not even going to, you almost got to hang it up at some point. I'm sure that crosses his mind. And then he goes out, wins his first win ever as a professional yesterday, and gets his tour card. So it's like there are unbelievably cool stories out there for every Alistair heartbreak that there is. And so you're obviously rooting for all those people because they're all in the same boat. But you're right. It is like, and Jake Marsh is on there. Shane Bacon's on there. These guys are all part of the coverage trying to do the very best that they can. But it is tough to package how meaningful this is. And you're right. I want to scream at people, Trent, when they're like, football's on, you're not kidding. I'm like, these guys are all making $15 million a year. What happens week in and week out? I'm sorry. It's not even close to how important this is for these 6 guys that are trying to get their tour card right now. So you're like trying to scream that at the TV and at Twitter a little bit. So packaging that properly and being able to present how meaningful it is would go a long way, just because people are so, it's hard. It's hard to, I even really realized he was that close until all of a sudden you see he's T2 out of nowhere. And you're like, oh shit, does he have a chance to get his PGA Tour card? So it's hard to understand and follow. Obviously it's not the NFL, but it is more meaningful for a lot of these guys. So it was cool to watch. It was cool that he even had a chance. It was a very weird feeling, like the heartbreak of like Rory, when he's lost a couple of these majors the last 2 years, Pinehurst and then at the Old Course. We talked a lot about how those were like the most devastating golf viewing losses that like I can remember watching. Maybe Tiger in 2009 when Y.E. Yang took him down in the PGA Championship. But those are like the player misses and doesn't quite get it done. This was like the players in the clubhouse. He has no control over it whatsoever.
Yep.
You just need one of these guys to not make birdie. They both make their putts for birdie. So it was a very weird place to be in. We're going to talk to Al about the whole thing, but incredibly proud of that dude. He's the nicest guy in the world. He's playing sick golf, and he's going to get his PGA Tour card. So I'm with you, Trent. He's going to stay positive, take all the positives away from it. So
I like that. And it's like, Rory misses that putt at Pinehurst, and 10 minutes later, he's on a private jet and he's home. And that's not making me want to watch it less, but we're talking about real stakes for these guys trying to get their PGA Tour card. I watch professional golf. I watch more professional golf than I do, not professional, but like PGA Tour golf than korn-ferry golf. Like, I'm not going to act like I'm a hardcore korn-ferry guy, but I do. The stories that are happening there, just they need to be told, and I'm glad that we're telling at least one of them, because they are, in their own way, just as interesting as the Pinehurst collapse. And that's all we're saying. It's just, we love it all, but there are stories there that get no coverage at all. The story thing was a story for a month, and it's still the story. It's been the story for 10 years now. But the korn-ferry stuff, there's stories there, people on the bubble that are fascinating in just such a different way. And if you're a sports fan of any kind, you would love it. So we just got to figure out a way to do it, but we're having Al on, so we're helping in our own little way.
Yeah, you got to be a math major too to figure these things out. It's like,
that's tough. Yeah.
It's like, I was tweeting out like, somebody's got to let us know what's going on. I saw a couple people responded like, you're supposed to let us know. I was like, I am not. I got no idea how these fucking points work. I don't know anything. I'm trying to learn out there. So yeah, it was a wild finish. Excited to talk to Alistair, hear from him, but awesome year regardless. And let's get that tour card and let's light it up out there. We're talking a little Travis Scott, Trent, at MetLife Stadium on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. I'm looking at the Game Time picks right here, GT picks. They got all kinds of great stuff. This seat, 163. You get something right here. So this is prime time at $195. I'm looking at a little Bills at Jets Monday night. I got 174, 102 here. How'd the Bills do? How'd the Bills do in week 5 there, Push?
We're on to the Jets.
Yeah, that's Monday night on Game Time. Game Time is the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. You know how much we love Game Time. Talked about it a lot with their brand new Game Time Picks feature. They're making it even easier to get to a game. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you incredible deals and only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time's great. Going to events is great.
Going to events is great. The MLB playoffs are rolling along right now. I know the Yankees are in it. I was looking, you can get in for like $180, $150. Go see playoff baseball. People forget how great playoff baseball is. The season's very long. There's a lot of games. People are kind of like, I don't know what's going on. There's so many. But as soon as the playoffs start, it's some of the most electrifying sports you'll see. So if you have the chance to go out to an MLB playoff game, do it, and do it using Game Time.
And shout out to our great friends at the New York Islanders at the UBS Utah Hockey Club is at the New York Islanders on October 10th. I'm looking at tickets for $38. You can sit up there. So you got all kinds of fun stuff. Game Time's going to help you do it. Download the Game Time app today. Use the code FORE to easily score great deals with the new Game Time picks. What time is it? It's game time. We had some drama on the tour with Beau Hossler. You see a bunch of people getting upset about some of these temporary immovable object rulings that he was trying to get out there as he was trying to close out the Sanderson Farms.
I did not see this.
He hit like his tee shot on the 72nd hole. He hit it a couple feet behind a tree, and then he brought the rules official over and was like, I get a free drop here because I'm trying to hit this over those grandstands over there. The rules official was like, yeah, I mean, that's not where you're not getting a drop like that. The grandstands are like not in the way at all. And then he was like, can you please explain the rule to me? And was not happy with not getting the ruling, ended up not getting the ruling, chipped out, ended up getting up and down for par. So he goes into a playoff and then ends up hooking it again and tries to get another relief and actually does this time, but ended up still coming up short. But there were a lot of people in the rules of golf kind of Twitter and world that were not very happy with Mr. Beau Hossler yesterday.
So they were not on his side, you're saying?
No, not on his side. And essentially, the claim is that if you're trying to get a ruling that that's not justified in you getting, then you're cheating. It's sort of like the way that people come at it from. Whereas I do think, that's clearly the argument. I don't know that I would go that far. It's always like tough to be like, people try to get favorable readings, like when Robert McIntyre, who we're going to talk about because he had some choice comments about the 17th hole at St. Andrews. But, when he got that like sprinkler drop, it's like, well, he's just taking advantage of the rule as it's written. He's not out there like cheating,
It is an interesting point, though, with grandstands. Like when you're talking about movable and immovable objects, is it as the course is built, or are the grandstands part of the event?
I believe it's temporary movable obstruction is something that they brought in that is part of the event that one could be granted a special opportunity drop relief, whatever you want to call it, because this new thing that we have to do to make this golf tournament cool and host people so they can sit down and see the golf course is now here. I'm looking at it. It's in my way. I get relief from it. It's sort of the way that I understand it.
I see. Yeah, no, he's and then to try to pull it again and then I guess they gave him the relief, but no, I didn't see any of that. And I like Beau Hossler. I don't think we've ever had him on the show, but I'm always whenever I see Beau Hossler, I'm always like, I like this guy. So it's unfortunate to hear that Twitter's kind of going after him, but what can you do? It's golf Twitter.
Speaking of golf Twitter, Robert McIntyre with he said they should blow up the 17th hole and essentially said it's just a terrible hole, the road hole. And I find it funny because I mean, that's sacrilegious to a lot of people, right? Like you say anything negative at all about the old course at St. Andrews, people are going to bury you. They're going to stomp on your throat. They're going to try to ruin you. I don't think it's the craziest take in history for someone to be like, yeah, dude, this really hard par 4 where I have to hit it over a hotel that's out of bounds. And then if I hit it at the right edge of the green, it hits a road and like a stone wall. And then if it doesn't hit that, it goes into the hardest bunker on planet Earth. Yeah, I don't love that hole. Like, I don't think that's the craziest thing for him to say of all time.
I think if you built that now stateside, there would be people who would call it Mickey Mouse. They'd be like, what? I'm hitting over this thing. This isn't mini golf. What am I doing here? I also think it's funny, like coming from a guy like Robert McIntyre, I think he can say that, and I feel like hopefully people won't get as mad at him. Like if an American said that, like blow up the 17th hole, I hate it, get rid of it, people would be like, you're the worst person in the world. But as a Scot, he's just like, blow that fucking hole up, man. I'm from around here. That golf course is old as shit. We're hitting over a building. It's going towards a road. Then it's going towards a bunker. Like, blow that thing up. But to say that about a St. Andrews golf hole, you almost have to be a guy in his position, because if you're a guy from any other place, certainly America, and they made those same comments, I think they kick you out of the sport of golf.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like, go eat your McDonald's and, and like go
Right.
play with your chandeliers and your water fountains and all that is what it would be, your waterfalls for us. But no, I enjoyed it. He said, I don't think there are many worse holes in the world of golf. I think it's a terrible hole off the back tee. Doesn't need to be monitorized to bring excitement. It needs to be a hole you're able to hit a golf shot into, and not one where you just hit it onto the green and try to get up and down. So he was just having some choice words about it. But I'm with you. It's like, if we all kind of agree that golf hole would never be built today, and I think a lot of people kind of have said that before, like, oh yeah, you could never get away with building this thing today. But the fact that it's so old, cool, the whole golf course has been built up around it. It's so iconic. It's so unlike any other shot you ever hit that everyone's like, oh yeah, of course we kind of accept it. So then if we all agree with that, then we kind of all have to agree that it's not that crazy for somebody to be like, this hole kind of fucking sucks. Like this is outrageous out here. So yeah, I enjoyed that, because I don't think anybody ever really says anything negative about the old course of St. Andrews, and I liked him just being fired up, being like, fuck this golf hole.
Do you have a golf hole that you wish you could blow up? I know I do. I'll go first. And I've said it before. I've said this to the superintendent, so it's not like a secret. I've said it on video. I've said it on podcast. The 5th hole at Rockville Links. And it has nothing to do with the design, I suppose. It has more to do with my performance on that hole historically. It's a 110-yard par 3. This is where the bunker incident took place. If anybody follows the Breaking series, you can go back and watch it. We've played at Rockville a ton. I love Luke. I love that golf. I love 17 holes of that golf course. It's fantastic. Luke keeps it in great shape. They treat us incredibly out there. But that hole, it's a par 3. I think on average I make like a 9. And there's huge bunkers on the right and the left of the green, and then there's water short. And for whatever reason, it doesn't fit my eye, and I either hit my ball short and it goes in the water, or it goes right and it goes left, and then I'm stuck in the bunker. I think I've probably played that hole 20 times, and I think I've hit the green once. So if I could blow up a golf hole, it would be the 5th at Rockville Links.
I would blow up the 18th hole at Erin Hills. That golf hole is just my nightmare. I fucking hate that hole, and it's beautiful. It's got, like the Holy Hill in the background. It's got the plaque where JT went 3-wood and made eagle wearing his pink pants on Saturday at the U.S. Open. It's got really cool bunkering, and man, I just make a million there every single time I play it, to the point where I've sat down at the bar afterwards, the lovely Erin Hills folks, and I've been like, what are you guys doing with this golf hole? I said, people come all the way out here. This is a nice resort to, it's a destination. I get that it's a U.S. Open course, but I said, we got to leave people with a better taste in their mouth after they play that golf hole. We can't have people coming off that green like I am, being like, what the hell is that? It's like from the green tees, which are like 3 tees up from the back, it's like 630 or something. And it's just, I just can't play it to save my life. And I could tell too that it's like, it's just a me issue. It's other people play it, they play it fine. It's really hard, it's really long, but like they can play the golf hole. And then it's also got, I don't know if you remember, but like it's also got a bananas green that's almost like a Donald Ross Pinehurst number 2 type green. Like the whole backside of it runs way away and down. The front side of it is like this little false front. And I just can tell me so many rounds of golf that I've been lucky to play at Erin Hills. I've walked up that fairway just steaming mad, shout out to Sean, just steaming mad, being like, I fucking can't play this golf hole to save my life.
It is one of the more intimidating tee boxes that you stand on, because you stand there and it feels like the green is 900 yards away. Like you can't believe that you have to get to that green in like 3 or 4 shots. You think that's impossible. And it's long time ago, before we even started the breaking series, I had a chance to break 100 at Erin Hills. And I think I had to make, I don't even know if the video exists, but I had to make, let's say I had to make a bogey or a double bogey, and I shoot 99 at Erin Hills. Didn't even really come close, because I got stuck in one of the greenside bunkers, but I felt like I was a million miles away standing on the tee box. It's an intimidating place to stand. So while I won't go as far as saying I would like to blow that hole up, I can certainly understand the logic behind someone saying that, because it's just a really fucking hard golf hole. And we are lucky enough that we've gotten to play that golf course a couple times. And if you are ever lucky enough to play Erin Hills, stand there and marvel at what Justin Thomas was able to do on that golf hole, because what he did should be impossible. Every time I play, they've got the little plaque there. We're Plaque brothers. I stand there and I look at what he did on that golf hole, and I still can't believe it. And it's very much, the video is available and you can watch it. But what he did on that hole is nothing short of spectacular. But again, I won't say I want to blow that hole up, but it's certainly a very difficult hole.
Have you ever felt the sense of unease when you leave your home, wondering if everything will be safe while you are away? I know that you have. Wasn't until really understanding Simply Safe, having these cameras that are synced right up to this app that I've got on my phone, that I really realized how great it is having a fantastic security system like Simply Safe. I knew the home, family, friends, everybody deserves the best, and everybody would be safe thanks to Simply Safe.
Yeah, the cameras really are a game changer. I see Frankie using it on his phone, and it's like, oh, my phone ding, something's going on in my house. It's somebody delivering a package. It's, someone going over there to do work on the house. It alerts you when things are going on. And that, as a group that travels as much as we do, it's the peace of mind of just knowing what's going on at home. And Simply Safe, they do it the best. They've got those cameras that are great. The whole alarm system is great. So if you're buying a house, or you just recently bought a house, or you've owned a house for a while and you want to keep your stuff safe, you got to use Simply Safe.
You'll never be locked into a long-term contract. You can cancel anytime. Pricing is transparent and affordable at less than $1 a day with no hidden fees ever. Simply Safe has been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running. It's easy to install. Activate your Simply Safe system in less than an hour. Protect your home with 50% off of a new Simply Safe system, plus a free indoor security camera when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/foreplay. That's simplysafe.com/foreplay. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Pretty tight fraternity of golfers that have their own plaque at a golf course.
True. It's me. Well, I mean, I can't name them all. I'm sure there's ones that I'm not aware of, but I know that the one that I got at Rain Dance National, shout out to the folks out there for doing that. It's still unbelievable. It's hilarious. It's every word you can think of, but it's modeled off of the plaque that Tiger has at Torrey Pines. If you look that up, you can Google it. It looks very similar. It's got the quote on top, and there's a body of text that sort of tells what happened. There's logos on either side. So that's the one that it's modeled after. But yeah, I mean, it's me, JT, Tiger for sure. I believe there's on 17 at Pebble. Does Nicholas have a 1-iron plaque there or no?
Nicholas might have a 1-iron plaque. You know who else I believe is the Ben? Oh, they got bridges. I know, like Hogan and Saracen, they've got bridges at Augusta National, but I feel like they've got the bridge. The bridge group is maybe as exclusive as it gets.
I'll never get a bridge. I won't allow a bridge to happen. I'm not saying that it will, but the plaque was very nice. It was Rain Dance National's idea, and I was like, if you guys want to do it, God bless. I think that would be very funny and very cool and very interesting. People would maybe take pictures with it. But if anybody ever says we want to make a bridge in your honor, I will say no. I'm not bridge worthy. You're right. The bridges is a whole nother level. If you get a bridge, you actually are one of the greats. Like Tiger should get a bridge somewhere. Like that's reserved for people who have actually played the game at a level where people can't believe it. They're like, you played so well, we're going to build a bridge and we're going to name it after you. That's a whole other level.
I'm trying to figure out who is Swilken for the Swilken Bridge?
Well, that's the thing over there. Everything is so old that who knows? They might not even know. Things get so old and lost in time. And I know people are now going to be like, it's Swilken is this. Of course it's this.
No, it just says Swilken spans the Swilken Burn between the 1st and 18th fairways. True, has become an important image in the sport of golf, except when they defaced it, when they put all those other stones on it. But it doesn't say who Swilken or who named that burn. But I gotta hand it to you, Trent. I don't know that a lot of people have a plaque, so I think that plaque is incredibly impressive. You can hang your hat on that forever. But trying to think if there's any other holes I would just blow up that I just hate.
I'm looking up. I know. There really aren't that many. And the thing is and I said it with the 5th at Rockville, it's based on me. I'm in no position to like look at a golf hole and be like, this is not designed correctly. I'm not that big of an asshole. But it's usually based on how I play. Now, I play such terrible golf that if I'm starting to blow up golf holes, there's not going to be many holes left in the world. Like I'm blowing up every hole that I've ever made a triple on. That's going to be a lot. I'm looking into this plaque thing. It looks like Rory has a plaque at the Scottish Open from 2023, that 2-iron.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's see. The Ben Hogan Bridge. Ben Hogan's got another one. There's the Tiger Woods at Torrey Pines. Tiger Woods got one in Mexico.
Mexico? What do you do in Mexico?
The WGC Mexico Championship, February 22nd. Sorry, it's small. 2019. 134 yards, 9-iron.
Is that where he did that's where he did the big cut shot. Remember that? Where he had that pink shirt on?
Oh, that's right. Okay. Nicholas does have one.
I'm a big Tiger guy, but that seems a little bit of a stretch. They put a plaque in down there.
Well, here's what we can't do, though, is we can't turn this into a segment for saying like guys don't deserve plaques because you're talking to a guy who does not deserve a plaque. But I get what you're saying with that Tiger one. Nicholas, 1967 U.S. Open 1-iron. There's a plaque there. Old Tom Morris has a plaque. Oh, there's a plaque for the Tiger Woods loose impediment, which is funny that we're talking about Beau Hossler.
TBC Scottsdale?
Yes.
The boulder?
The big old boulder. There's more plaques than I thought. Okay, so that makes me feel better and worse.
Well, I would say then you shouldn't feel bad about your plaque if they're giving these things out for a 9-iron cut shot. I don't think Tiger ever won that event, so I don't know. I'd be a little loosey goosey down there with those plaques. But
maybe
I do kind of agree with you that we're not really guys that are going to bitch about a golf course really ever. Like we kind of love every hole for the most part. The one at Erin Hills, obviously you have one, like okay, occasional here and there, but we're not. I almost love every golf course. I'm like, yeah, pretty much every hole was really sweet on that. Love you too. Thank you. Good luck. But I think like almost any golf course we roll up.
What was that? What just happened?
A couple guys walking down the fairway on the third hole in Piners.
Oh, nice. They said they love you?
Yeah. They waved back. I said, Riggs, we love you. So I said, I love you too.
That's really nice.
It is nice. Piners, it gets you going down here with that stuff. Everybody's just nice. That not everybody just says, I love you all the time. That'd be a little bit weird, but those guys did, which was really nice. Speaking of people being positive about golf courses and everything else, Rory had some quotes about negativity in the coverage of the game of golf, which I actually really liked because I thought it was kind of in line with what we've mostly done our entire careers with this little shindig right here, where he was going in, I think it was with Kyle Porter. He was doing a long, one of those things that Rory does like a couple times a year where he does just like the long interviews that get printed. And he's talking about kind of the coverage in the game of golf being negative. And he said, for the overall game, I'm not talking about if someone messes up and you have to be critical of someone. Absolutely. I think that is part of it. I think I, more than anyone, understand that and know that. He said, I'm not saying being critical of players. I'm saying being critical of the overall game of golf. He said, we're all in this together. We all know that we could benefit by raising the game up. Some people in the media, I'd love to ask why their coverage of golf is so negative.
Now, what I'm a little confused on what he's referring to. Is he referring to Live PGA Tour, or is he just referring to the game of golf?
I think he's just referring to kind of the game of golf. And I was kind of maybe with PGA Tour Live type stuff, I was maybe thinking that he was just in general talking about players all getting a bad rap for being greedy or this or that, which is, if he is coming at it from that standpoint, I can understand because players, if you're an NFL quarterback and you just try to get the biggest contract that you can get, nobody calls you like great. They're just like, yeah, of course you do. Like everybody should do that. Why wouldn't you? But I think for me, I almost took even more of it. Like people just are sort of this in the media space in golf and really in every sport, but in golf too, this like curmudgeon-y negative approach, where they just kind of come at it like they're covering Capitol Hill. And it's like this person is actually a bad person trying to ruin people's lives or whatever. And it's like, well, no, this guy's probably a good person who's just out there trying to do the best they can for the game of golf. And I think I understand a little bit what he's saying when it's just sort of like, why, if it's better for everyone, if golf is raised up, if there's more participation, if there's more viewership, if all that's higher, then everybody that's working in the game of golf is going to do better. They're going to make more money. They're going to have more viewers. They're going to have more friends that follow their stuff, all of that. Why do people somehow always gravitate, or a lot of people in media gravitate towards being negative? Is sort of the general sense that I'm getting from that, from Rory.
I mean, we talked a little bit about it with the Michael Clayton stuff last week, where there does seem to be a very specific, I don't even want to call it demographic because it's not that big of a, there's not that many people who really fit into this category, but the ones who do, they do seem angry. And I don't know, there's like, I don't know if they want to shrink the game. They just seem to be getting outpaced by the game, but I don't know where that comes from. If you just have the right attitude about it, like if Michael Clayton or whoever, I don't want to keep shit on that guy because I really don't know a ton about it.
But it's fine.
A guy like that sees what he saw and takes a picture of it and decides to be negative about it. You could have easily taken a picture of that and said, wow, look at these 25 and under guys who are playing a sport that is normally reserved for old men. And all the commercials on the broadcast are Viagra and Cialis and, get a walker and, all this stuff that's geared towards an older demographic. You can just be like, wow, it's so cool that people who are 40, 50 years younger than me are interested in the sport and are playing the sport. And we're all kind of doing the same thing. The sport that started hundreds and hundreds of years ago is still grabbing the attention of the young demographic. How cool is that? Let's all, we're all in this together. It's so much fun. And I don't know, people don't want to do that. And there's very specific instances of people who are just like, fuck these people, despite them having that not big of a difference in the things that they like. They just like the thing differently. They decide to shit all over them and they don't want to grow the sport that they love. Listen, we've been trying to get an answer to this since Old Man Media shit all over us in Australia. We were essentially saying, we are covering the same sport that you guys are. We're just doing it in a different way. And the different way you guys don't seem to like, that's the issue you have. You don't have an issue with the sport. You have an issue with us covering it in a way that you maybe wouldn't do or don't approve of. I don't get it at all. I've never understood it. Maybe when I'm 70 years old, I'll finally see the light on the other side and be like, fuck these people who like golf and they're younger than me. Because that's the only thing I can see. Maybe you just reach a certain age where you just start to hate everything because you're getting older and things aren't as good for you and you're going to die soon. And you're just like, I'm mad at everything because I'm not as young as everybody else. That's the best solution I can come up with.
Yeah, the Old Man Golf Media thing is kind of what I thought. Rory was alluding to something pretty similar, where it's just like, why the fuck you being negative and bitch? We all cover golf, dude. Why get into media of any sport if you are going to not love it, not be obsessed with it, and not be excited and positive for the most part about covering it? And Rory, again, I thought he was right when he's like, I'm not saying every single part of it's always negative. You don't have to act, or everything's always got to be positive. You don't have to act like you can't criticize people in golf. Of course you can. And when somebody does something wrong or bad or whatever, they should be open to being criticized, and they should. But I did kind of, I don't know, I kind of enjoyed him just being like, look, man, like, there's no reason to be super negative about the game of golf. If we're all in the game of golf together, we should be positive about it. He was talking about how recreational golf and participation is as good and healthy as it's ever been, and that's something that we should be able to all kind of build off of. And I just thought, I mean, we're kind of Rory stands in the show, but I enjoyed that. I thought that was nice stuff coming out of Rory.
I'd also recommend to people to, even the negative stuff or the quote unquote negative, view that in a way where it's like a movie. We talk a lot about narratives on this podcast. That's really how I've chosen to look at a lot of the things when it comes to certainly golf and then other aspects of things that I enjoy following. Even the bad stuff, view that as like, oh, a villain has entered the picture. How interesting is that? Like, yeah, there are going to be people that in whatever you follow that you don't like, but don't get so caught up, especially when it's not serious. Like if you're following a sport, you should not take it seriously whatsoever. So when someone does something quote unquote wrong or that you disagree with, view them as a villain who just entered a movie that you're watching. And now you're like, how are they going to act? How are people going to react to them? What's that going to be? But then once you're done following it, you're like, oh, I'm not watching that movie anymore, so I don't have an opinion. It's the people who get caught up in, like, it ruins their day when something happens that they don't like in the sport that they're following. And they can't think about anything else. And they're talking to their friends about it and they're fucking pissed. And it doesn't have to be that way. Just view it and be like, oh, wow, that's an interesting thing that I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm not going to make it my life's goal to bring that person down or bring the sport down because of it.
Kind of got choppy for a second there, Trent. Hold on. I'm going to try to move back inside. I think the vacuuming's done. Give me 2 seconds.
As you visually move further away from your house, because it looks like you're in the woods now, your internet gets worse, for sure.
That checks out. That sounds like it should be.
We started pre-show. You were inside the house, crystal clear. I could see every piece of your face, every little wrinkle, every little part of it. And as you have seemingly wandered into the woods, you have turned this podcast into the Blair Witch Project. And
I want everyone to know I wasn't trying to wander into the woods. Is that there's some vacuuming going on in my place, and it was unbelievably loud. So I'm trying to figure that out.
All right, he's creeping back into his own home.
Okay, it's got to be clear. I bet it's really clear here in a second.
It's probably going to take a second to catch up, but I'm already hearing you more than I was before.
Wow, do I sound great?
You do. You sound great.
All right.
Basically, and I know I got choppy, I just view everything as a movie and don't take anything too seriously. That was my advice.
I think that's good. That's good, Mo. We got some from the galleries to get to here, Trent.
All right, let's do it.
Been a while since we've done some of these. We were kind of on the Rory trip. Remember, people can email us, fore-play@barstool-sports.com. That is fore-play@barstool-sports.com. And we'll read them, just title them from the gallery. And at some point, we comprise a nice list. And I don't know, every couple of weeks or so, we just rip through a couple of these, and it's nice and it's fun and the whole deal.
Tell me what you think about this. I got a question for you. It's not really golf related. It's podcast recording related. I'm in a hotel in Chicago because we're filming a video tomorrow. And so I don't have my normal setup that I normally do where I just know where everything is and I'm going to record a podcast. It's easy. I like to prop up my laptop a little bit. I usually use books or whatever I can find. And I was rummaging around this hotel looking for something to prop up my laptop so the view is better, so the clips and everything look better. The only thing I could find was the Bible. So I'm currently using the Bible to prop up my laptop. Good or bad?
I think it's good. The good people of the Christian faith would say anything that you do with the Bible to help their lives, they would be happy with. So I think they would have absolutely no issue with that. I think they'd be happy with you using the Bible unless you do something like dangerous with it or like degrading with it. But I think if you're just propping up your laptop with that thing, I think you're totally fine there, Trent.
I think you're right. And that was the exact logic that I used when I slid the book under my laptop right before I jumped into the Zoom link. Like just obviously the passages in the book have helped a lot of people for a long time. You know, they read the Bible and it helps them. They go to church and it helps them. I'm using the Bible to help me as well, just in a more, it's a function. The book is an actual function, but it's sort of serving the same purpose as it's helping someone. It's helping me.
People want the Bible to help people. I think that's a big part of their whole thing. I had I got a long handwritten thing from the Jehovah's Witnesses a couple weeks ago in my Scottsdale place. And you really feel bad if you disregard that thing because it looks like it took this person days to write out this handwritten couple page thing. But it's like, what am I going to do? I'm not a Jehovah's Witness kind of guy. So it's like, I'm just pretty much going to disregard that. And I felt pretty bad about it. I really did.
I've never gotten a handwritten note like that from them. Usually they just knock on your door, right? And they're like, they try to give you some sort of pamphlet.
Yeah, it was in my mailbox.
But it was handwritten.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was on it was like on notebook, typical notebook paper. And it was like 2 single spaced 2 pages, like every line taken up on this thing for 2 pages.
Yeah, you might have to respond to that guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't throw it away yet, but I was like, at some point, I'm not going to hold on to these pages forever. So I felt a little bit, weird about the whole thing.
You're going to have to look around every corner and just like sort of before you cross the street when you throw those papers away. Like that feels like I'm not going to throw this Bible away when I'm done. I'm going to put it right back where it was so the next person can maybe get something out of it. But throwing those papers away, that would make me nervous.
I'm pretty nervous about it. And it was one of those, like, I didn't want to ever be in this position. I was very upset that these have now graced my and become a part of my life. It's like I have to at some point do something with these. So I don't know what exactly I'm going to do. I guess put them in a drawer forever, right? That's probably pretty safe.
That's what people do.
Yeah.
People just keep things forever, and then when they pass away, somebody else does something with it. That's kind of the way things go. That's legitimately what I would do with those papers.
I think we'll take that. Drew says, do you think in 2025 Rory-McIlroy would rather win a major, not the Masters, so he would either win the PGA, the US Open, or the Open, or the Ryder Cup on American soil? Which one would he rather win? One of those other three majors or the Ryder Cup on American soil?
The only thing that's making me not instantly say major is when he cried at that one Ryder Cup. I forget which one it was a couple years ago.
That was Whistling Straits.
I believe it was because they got their doors blown off. And so it's an event, the Ryder Cup, that he really, really cares about. I remember being stunned when he cried. Like, I was like, oh, I didn't, you wouldn't think the Ryder Cup's obviously important, but I wouldn't think Rory would cry that we beat them so badly. Now, even with that said, he's got to win a major. And I don't know for a fact, but I know for a fact that is got to be all he thinks about all the time. That's what made Pinehurst so devastating. That's what made, the 150th at St. Andrews devastating, where you're just so close to having people stop talking about, hey man, you haven't won a major in a while. Like, that has consumed his career. Now, he's done a lot of great things. You look at the way that he has played, certainly over the last couple of years, he has won a bunch of things, and it's been under the weird pressure of the public scrutiny with what's going on with Liv PGA Tour. There's a lot of guys who just would completely fumble and wouldn't have won any tournament during that time. He has almost elevated his game while being in an even brighter spotlight, but I know that he wants a major. So as important as the Ryder Cup is, as fucking unbelievable as it would be for them to upset the American team at Bethpage Black, I know he wants a major more than anything.
I think he might say Ryder Cup. I really do. I think he might say Ryder Cup. I think that guy has started to live for the part of golf that's at least a little less commercialized. Like he said after the Olympics, that he's like, the two best sports in our event, we don't play for any money. And he's talking Olympics, he's talking Ryder Cup. And I just think he started to get into that phase of his life where this type of event, the Ryder Cup, is almost everything to him. Now, I understand the Masters tournament, he would be career Grand Slam. He'd be like the sixth guy in the history of the game to do that. I don't think there's anything that would really stop him from wanting that next. But if he could just pile on one of the other majors or win at Bethpage on U.S. soil, I think he says Ryder Cup. I really do.
Dude, I so strongly disagree with you that I think he would prefer to peel off a PGA championship as opposed to win the 2025 Ryder Cup. I really do.
I don't think so. I really don't think he would. If he had never won, like, that's why obviously the Masters, the ones we're doing, but I'm thinking of like a Lee Westwood or somebody, obviously, like, he would say major. He's never gotten a major.
Yeah.
Changes his whole career. He finally could get over the hump. He did. I mean, no, he's old now, so it's not going to happen. But the Rory thing, like, he's already won, a bunch of majors. He's got 4 majors. It's like, I think he would be Ryder Cup. I really do. I think he loves that thing. I think he loves that team event so much. I think it means the world to him. I think he loves being a part of that. I think that he's really in the last, I think that Whistling Straits one, I think it pissed him off. Like, he was obviously emotional. He was crying. But I also think he was like, this event is so badass. It pissed him off that he didn't play well. I think it pisses him off when, like, the golf writers and whatnot will write off Team Europe over and over again, and they come out and obviously dominate on whenever they play in European soil. So I just think he would say Ryder Cup. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I think he would say it.
The only thing that would change my answer, and it's not the reality we live in, so my answer is not going to change, is if he had never been on a winning Ryder Cup team. If we were living in a world where it was like he hadn't won a major in 10 years, and he also, for whatever reason, the USA has been dominating like they've been dominating the President's Cup in the Ryder Cup, where it's like Team Europe just can't get it done, and the star of this European generation in Rory-McIlroy has not won a Ryder Cup, then I think I might say Ryder Cup, because it is really important, and the camaraderie, and you made a good point with the like commercialized side of it, where it does seem like he really enjoys playing on the Ryder Cup, where, as opposed to like winning a major, that's work. Trying to win a major is fucking grunt work.
It is.
But since they've won, I mean, 2018 they won, like not on U.S. soil, but having won a Ryder Cup, he knows what that feels like. He just, it's been so long since he's won a major. I feel like he might not remember what that feels like.
He did. He won that one at Medina when they won on foreign soil when they came back. So like he's done that before when Tiger got stranded out in the fairway with no chance to get the boys over the hump. So he has had all those, but I don't know. What if you said to Keegan Bradley, you could win the Masters next year, or you can captain the U.S. to a winning Ryder Cup team next year? What do you think he says?
That is interesting, because I think
guy grew, he was used to sneak on to Bethpage. He got damn romantic talking to us about it on this very show, being from that area, spending so much time in that area, college and the whole deal. Now he gets to come back as the captain after the whole Netflix thing.
I think it's the Ryder Cup, and I think it's similar to what Stricker said after Whistling, where he was like, "This is my major." Now I know Keegan's got one, but now at this phase in Keegan's career, I think there's nothing more important to him than a Ryder Cup. Even honestly, just being on one would have been the most important thing to him. But being the captain and winning one, I don't think you could put anything in front of Keegan Bradley right now that would be more important in his life than that. I really don't.
I don't think he could either. I think that's all he cares about. He was so fired up talking about it on our show. Oh, I think he would. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he would have to say Ryder Cup, which is, think about how cool that is for the Ryder Cup. I don't feel like, don't get me wrong, Ryder Cup's always been a big deal, but I really feel like in the last 3 or 4 of them, it's become that different level where you could even entertain that guys might say, I really would rather just win a Ryder Cup than almost anything else in the world of golf. Whereas before, I don't know, it just always kind of felt like there was a good amount of individuals involved. There's still, you get the occasional where it's like, I mean, now they don't say that anymore because they're so dominant, but like, it was like our Cantlay and Xander, even their chance they were not even going to play because of the money breakdown. And obviously he's turned into hatless Pat and the whole deal. So it's been great, but I always do. I just feel like it's gotten more and more and more meaningful for them.
I think you're right. I don't know what necessarily the difference is. Maybe it's that the guys who are on the team, I feel like guys are winning major young now. Like Collins won a couple already. Like that generation is sort of getting the majors out of the way. And then the Ryder Cup is like, all right, I've got these trophies, these individual trophies. And now the Ryder Cup in this team sport, I feel like that's the thing that is going to complete the way that I feel as a golfer. I don't know if that's the reason, but yeah, it does feel like the Ryder Cup it's always been important, very, very important, but it feels like now when it rolls around, it's like there are guys who would be like, I would rather win this than the upcoming PGA Championship or US Open, or Masters is always going to be like, I mean, I guess you did just give it in the Keegan example, but the Masters I feel like is always going to be a little elevated and people are going to want one of those regardless. But outside of that, the Ryder Cup seems to have gained an importance that it didn't have in the past.
Yeah. And maybe that's just because we weren't always around and aware of it like we are now, because now we just are part of this world. But yeah. This episode is presented by Kraken, one of the longest standing and most secure crypto platforms in the world. Kraken is your guide to financial freedom, offering safe and simple access to crypto for all, trusted by over 13 million individuals, traders, and institutions around the world. Kraken offers professional 24/7, 365 client support, along with one of the fastest, most performant trading platforms available. This is good stuff. It's secure, and it's going to help you. It's going to make your life better.
If you trust the experts, crypto is the future. So if you want to be involved in the future, if you want to be ahead of the curve, get involved with crypto. That's all I'm hearing. That's all I read about. It's crypto, crypto, crypto. And Kraken is going to help you get involved, stay involved, keep your stuff secure. To just make your future better. Get involved with crypto, and you're going to be set, and do it using Kraken.
Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss and is offered to U.S. customers, excluding Washington, New York, and Maine through Hayward Interactive Incorporated. View legal disclosures at kraken.com/legal/disclosures. disclosures. Go to kraken.com/barstool and see what crypto can be. Hey, Al.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Where are you?
Well, I got horses in the background. I'm in Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville.
Louisville, Kentucky. I'll never be able to say that properly. Louisville, Kentucky. Trent, you made the point earlier where we were like Rory and Devastation after the US Open. You're like, he 10 minutes later jumps on his private jet and just flies home. Alistair hops in a rental car and drives across the country. Got to go through Louisville and everywhere else to try to get to North Carolina.
Yeah, I slept in this morning and kind of took my time, got over to Louisville, and now I'm in my hotel and fly out tomorrow morning to you, Riggs.
Hell yeah. So me and Trent opened the show with obviously the talk from the championship from the day on Sunday. That was off the charts, intense, all the way down to the last couple putts. From your standpoint, hit us with what that last hour was like yesterday, because that was it was wild. I just really want to hear what that was like from your vantage point.
Even just starting on the back nine, I knew I still had a chance. Tried to just give myself looks every single hole, which I really did. I had great looks for all 9 holes on the back nine, but I just couldn't really get the putts to drop. I hit the par 5 14 and 2 and had a great look at eagle and just barely missed it, left it short right in the heart. And we're standing in the middle of the fairway on 18. Brando's like, "You think it's 5 wood or 3 wood?" And I was like, to be honest, Brando, I think I need to make it. The only way I can make it is if I fly it in the hole with 3 wood. I can't really try and gas a 5 wood. If I miss hit it, I'm short and in the rough. So we tried hitting a really high 3 wood and put it on the green. I hit a great shot. Under the pressure and all that was riding on it. And then got up to the green and saw that the leader was at 9. So when I was hitting my second shot, or at least when I was on the tee on 18, I thought the leader was at 10. So knowing that I had a putt to tie the lead at the time, I gave it a great run. It slid by the right edge and had 4 feet coming back. I'm glad I made it to give myself a chance. And then, like you said, the whole hour after that, I'm just watching carnage. From so many people making mistakes. The golf course is hard. If you get it offline, you get it in the wrong spots, you're bound to make some bogeys. And I didn't really expect all those guys in the final group to kind of explode like that at one point. And I'm sitting there with my family, my mom, my dad, my very good friend Moose, and we're just sitting in the hospitality room watching it all happen on TV. And we're like, well, now we just need other people to miss putts, but we don't ever, like you tweeted yesterday, we don't ever wish poorly of poor play from other people. But at the time, it's like, wow, I'd really like them to miss a putt here. Just give myself a PGA Tour card. But I wish it didn't come down to that. I wish I would have made some more putts throughout the week. It just sucks that it came down to that. And happy for those guys that made their putts, and I'm happy for Noah Goodwin. He's a good buddy of mine, so congratulations to him getting that 30 spot.
It is such an interesting dynamic in that, like you said, you don't root against people is in this game, but you wouldn't be a human being if it's not like your whole life and everything you work towards is like, this guy's going to play on the PGA Tour. Let's go. You just need somebody to miss a putt. Hard not to just be rooting for that outcome, obviously, in that spot. How easy is it, and how aware are you throughout the day, both kind of while you're playing and afterwards, to know kind of exactly where you sit? Because I feel like it's not really that easy for anybody. And one person who's, maybe close to you, who's several spots ahead of you, makes a double you don't even really realize happens. All of a sudden, it can vault you into a spot where you didn't know you had a chance to finish there. How hard is it to pay attention to all that while you're also trying to hit these? You're trying to fly a 3-wood into the hole on the last hole of the tournament.
Yeah, I really have no idea how to do all the math when I'm out there. I'm just trying to win the golf tournament. So
okay,
knowing in the fairway on 18, like I told my caddy Brando, I was like, I think I have to make this. In order to go to the PGA Tour, I think I have to make this. So we're gonna get it to the hole. We're gonna give ourselves a chance, and we're gonna try and fly in the hole. And like I said, wind wind into off the left from, I think it was 277 hole. I mean, I crushed the 3-wood, nice high, little fade. I thought it was really good. It just flew a little long. I had some adrenaline, obviously. I smoked that 3-wood.
It's like, if you make that, it's like, oh, we should just do that every time. Let's act like we want to put in the hole every time. This is the easiest sport in the world.
Yeah, no kidding.
When we talked about it at the beginning of the show, obviously we talked about how you feel powerless that last hour. You wish you had made a couple more putts. It's not the outcome you wanted, but what are the positives that you're taking away from this? Like, are there any? Have you thought about that? I know this just happened less than 24 hours ago, so you might not have had time to process all of it, but like, what are your main takeaways from what happened yesterday?
I had a little bit of time of reflection, especially the drive from French Lick to Louisville. And I got to be proud of the way I fought. I mean, I knew coming into the week I needed, at worst, a second place finish. And unfortunately, I finished T2 one too many ways. But like, second place at the Tour Championship is awesome. Just to be there is awesome. Give myself a chance. Like Riggs texted me last night, and my parents were there with me telling me, last year at this time, how would you like to say that, you had a great year, you were at the Tour Championship, and you had a chance to get your tour card? Yeah, that was very positive. Obviously, I want to be on the PGA Tour as soon as possible, but I got to give myself a little bit of grace, and I've improved every single year. And I truly believe it's just a matter of time.
I think that's the right mindset. I think it's times where it's easier to have that mindset, than other times. And I could imagine, I even said on this show with Trent earlier, I was like, Al always has a very positive attitude. And even after it comes up short, or at Myrtle Beach, where it's like he finished second, but like first would have been just a little better in these events. I was like, Al's always positive. I was like, even you last night, I could tell just the way your text back was like, yeah, this was devastating. And I think that's so cool to even have been that close, and to understand that, dude, you're kind of a big event kind of guy. It's like, if you go like look at your finishes, it's hilarious that in the hardest, biggest events, you play your best golf. It's like you get one sponsor's exemption to a PGA Tour event all year, you finish second. You get to the Tour Championship for korn-ferry-tour, you finish second. And it's like, that's really got to be a big confidence booster for you, knowing that what makes it hard for most people that play this game is like, man, when the pressure gets the highest, to perform the way that you can perform in those situations. And I would say you do a damn good job of it. Like, it's impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. I think back to hockey, like you get those big games and you kind of just step up just a little bit more. And I guess that's what leads into a little bit better play in the tougher scenarios, I guess. It's a good quality to have, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Sure is. So you got a couple things now. We could do our next big game hunting that we're doing is going to be korn-ferry-tour. Well, I mean, we're going to try to Monday talk to people about kind of your fall here, because I know you're trying to get into some events here and there. There is korn-ferry-tour final stage, which I didn't even think of. We were talking about the other week, where I was like, oh yeah, you've got the same status for next year. And you're like, well, yeah, but if I finish top 5 in final stage, I get my PGA Tour card. I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot about that. So there's a lot of different opportunities for you kind of still going forward here.
Yeah. So I actually talked to Brad McGahee, who's like our player relations. He takes care of us and lets us know all the ins and outs of what's going on. Because of my finish at Myrtle, I should start doing the Mondays very quickly. And if I can somehow get a sponsor exemption into some of the fall events that are going on right now, it would be huge. Because I think I only need like 230, 250, 250 points to crack that 125 on the PGA Tour. So that's another avenue that I can get into, get my card. So I'll talk to my agent when I get off the phone with you guys and start getting on that. And then if that doesn't work out, I'll do some of the Mondays to try and get myself into those events and give myself the opportunity. Otherwise, it's just get ready for Q School and try and win that thing.
With football season in full swing, that's true it is, I think this would be the perfect time to talk about the MVP of golf carts, Easy Go vehicles. I wouldn't want a golf cart that's benched. at halftime, and that's exactly what you're going to get with any brand outside of E-Z-GO. Look, I'm here. I love North Carolina. I love spending a few weeks here, having some friends in town occasionally, just driving around, going to get a iced coffee in the morning or go grab a beer at night. And I take my golf cart everywhere, Trent. I take it all over the place. I take the E-Z-GO. It looks great. It is great. It's fast. It's cool. And it's just better being in a golf cart than not being in a golf cart.
Dude, so I moved down to Florida, and we talked about this, I think, last podcast or two podcasts ago. I was like, I want to get involved with a golf cart in my life. I want to get an E-Z-GO. And as I'm hanging around in my new neighborhood, I'm seeing golf carts whipping around. So I have been on the E-Z-GO website, and I'm just looking around, and it is so fun. I actually saw you posted yours today. I was like, oh, that reminded me. I'm going to go on the E-Z-GO website and scroll around. I'm definitely getting one. I don't know which one I'm going to get yet, but the excitement you hear in my voice is a guy who's just scrolling, looking at awesome E-Z-GO carts. Go on the website, check them out. They've got all different kinds, all different sizes. I'm going to find the perfect one for me. The perfect one for you is definitely in there. I'm very excited about this.
Just going over to your friend's house in your golf cart and your E-Z-GO is fantastic. Just makes it that much more fun. It's nice. You're outside, feeling the wind. And we'd love to hook one of our listeners up, by the way, with one of these bad boys. It's super easy. All you got to do is visit barstoolclassic.com/E-Z-GO sweeps and enter for a chance to win. One more time, that is barstoolclassic.com/E-Z-GO sweeps. Visit barstoolclassic.com/E-Z-GO sweeps to win a brand new E-Z-GO Express S4. What's this guy going to shoot at Tobacco Road, Trent? I'm trying to figure out. We're playing Friday, and I've played Tobacco Road with a bunch of people, but not really somebody who, I mean, if you really use these slopes and hit it, like, you could shoot nothing at Tobacco Road. I'm very interested to see how you play this place.
I think he's going to tear that place apart.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to tear every course apart.
True. That's true.
And after playing French Lick, everything's got to feel a little easier. That place was a beast. That was a beast. I mean, I had to take the mini driver out of play this week and put a 3-wood in because I couldn't hit the mini driver off the deck high enough because it was like 3 out of the 4 par 5s. The second shot was over 260 and uphill to get to the green.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing people, and I preach this every time I can, and I don't know the extent of it, but the way the golf you guys are playing is fucking impossible. Like the setups you guys play, the courses you guys play, and to hear that is just a peek, a little peek into just how hard and just how well you played and how well all these other guys played to shoot those numbers. Like there's such a gulf. There's such a chasm between the golf that I play and the golf that Riggs plays and the golf that you guys play. Like I will always preach. I want people to understand just how fucking hard it is. And how hard you guys work and the skill level that you guys are at, that you're just trying to get your card and you're trying to get up there with the big boys like that. It blows my mind every time. And you saying that about taking the mini driver out and you had to put a 3-wood in. It's just the level that you guys play consistently. It's fucking insane.
Yeah. I mean, the setup this week was insane. If it didn't get the excess of the hurricane, there's just the amount of rain that it got last week, before we got there, it probably wouldn't have played as long, but it's still a beast. It's one of Pete Dye's craziest layouts. And we didn't play the tips, but they could tip it out at 8,100. Yeah, it's insane.
Fuck.
That light just turned on beside me. That was kind of weird.
What turned on?
The lamp that's right beside me just turned on.
Ooh.
A ghost in there? Trent's using a Bible to prop up his computer, so maybe we've got some weird stuff going on.
Yeah, it was like right there.
It is, yeah. Yeah, you don't see 9 under. 9, you see 25 under leads these things or wins these things, I feel like, on the korn-ferry-tour all the time. So had to be playing impossibly hard. How was our guy Brando out there? Was he just had you locked in and doing his thing?
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. Especially the final round, we had a little bit of wind, and like I told you in Myrtle, his math with the wind, he's got it down to 1 mile an hour, and we were pin high or just like within 2 yards every single time. I mean, it was he makes it so easy. It's so simple to trust. And it's like, all right, this is the golf shot you got to hit. Okay, now just do it.
It's a good team. That's a good team. All right, Alistair. Wow, what a day! What a day watching. That was. I mean, you gave it a great run. It's unimaginable to think about throughout the entire year, the thousands and thousands of golf shots that you hit, and it comes down to two different putts that if one guy just misses, you're in at 30th or 29th instead of 32nd. It's insane to think that. I think you played 22 events on the korn-ferry-tour this year, and for it to come down to that is, like Trent was saying earlier, I don't know how you're not that nervous over every shot throughout the entire year, being like, man, we could get to that point in October again where it's like, I need this putt to go in. It's just insane that you got to play that well at that level, that consistently through the entire year, and you can still come up like a fraction of a point short. It's just stressful out there, man. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's times throughout the year that maybe you want to hit the hero shot and take on something that maybe you shouldn't quite take on. And I don't know, I think my course management is matured for sure. And I end up just trying to eliminate the big numbers if I ever put myself in trouble. But then you think back and it's like, man, if I would have just taken that one chance and it worked out, maybe I wouldn't be in this situation. But you can't go with all these what ifs. I mean, I'm just very thankful that I had the opportunity and I gave it my all. And now it's on to the next step, and hopefully I can get some sponsor exemptions or a Monday into a couple and try and get enough points to sneak in the 125, or get ready for Q School and go kill it at Dyes Valley and Sawgrass Country Club.
I like you keep mentioning these sponsors exemptions. Let's get some people listening out there. Let's see sponsor exemptions. Hello, if you're listening,
that would be awesome.
Let's get out there. Let's play as many of these things as we can.
Yeah, I mean we got Vegas, Cabo, Bermuda, and the RSM in Georgia. So 4 opportunities, and we'll see what happens.
I love it. Well, great year. Fantastic work out there. Now you got to get your ass to Pinehurst. We got some golf to play down here.
Little relaxing and hang out with the boys. It's probably what I need after such a stressful year.
Hell yeah.
We can make that happen. A little Lisi Italian. Oh, you're going to love that.
I'm excited.
All right, Alistair. Good work. Way to battle out there. Safe travels. And
thanks, guys.
And I'll see you very soon.
Thanks, Riggsy. Thanks, Trent.